Reggio.
I'm Hans Lindberg.
And we're 2/3 of the Taste Buds. Our company started, it's crazy to think that along with our other friend Gary Darling, 3 chefs have been together for over 30 years. Pretty incredible. I think who would have put money on that? We've been the best of friends and worked together for a long time, and it's been a real success story. And we are really excited about our latest restaurant opening. This one up here in Richland, specifically here at the Renaissance Mall. This is an exciting project for us. As you can see, we've got a brand new building that's almost ready, almost done. It'll be done in another couple of days. We're waiting on the certificate of occupancy, and then looks like we'll be open in about a week or so. This is our new design. We've been training the staff and continue to train the staff and getting all ready for this great opening.
All right, now I gotta talk. So you said it all. So anyway, we're really glad to be here and to kind of show off our food, which is always, you know, chefs, that's what you're really worried about. And so I think the rotisserie will bring something different to the area. So we rotisserie everything, beef. You know, we used to have veal, but that we decided to let that go. But chicken, of course, and prime rib on the spit. We have a wood-burning grill. You have hamburgers to chicken to what have you. Lots, about 5 or 6 different types of fresh fish.
And our world-famous Thai ribs, which you guys will get a chance to sample today. But it's, I think, a real point of difference. You know, when you think rotisserie, a lot of people thinking, well, maybe it's the grocery store type. And the method's all the same, but it's what we do with our sauces and our seasonings, the way we present it, the cuts of the meat. It really works out well. We like it. It's you kind of get the benefits of not only the open flame, but also the slow roasting. And it's worked very, very well for us. You can put some a very unique array of products on there. Way back when, we even had emu on there, although that won't be on the menu. It was a buddy of mine. I had an emu guy, and that's where he got it from. Well, he's no longer in the business. Yeah, so. Do you have any questions for us?
What are your backgrounds?
Introduce Barbara Coltis as the general manager.
Hey guys, we're very excited to be here in Richland. We believe that we have a great product with you guys, and we think that we've hired the best of the best, so we can provide great food and great service for you. We're really, really excited and happy to be here.
How many people can work here?
What's the total staff?
We are currently at 85.
85. And so,
well, actually 88, I apologize. We hired 3 more today.
So what's your double? Is 88?
85 was our goal, but you know, we never stop hiring great people. If somebody excellent walks through our door, we're going to hire them. We want to make sure they do a great job for you guys.
For the foreseeable future, your workforce will be.
I'm sorry.
for the foreseeable future, what do you normally, where do you see it settling? Right in the 80
Oh,
range?
yeah.
And that's for lunch and dinner?
85 to 100.
And I tell you, it's been exciting with getting to know the people here in the area. I mean, the hiring has gone really, really well. You know, a lot of times it's tough. Well, all restaurateurs nowadays are really struggling for employees and all that. But this has been great, having the quality of people that are in. Yes, sir.
What are your backgrounds?
Hans, you want to talk about your background?
I started cooking, I'm originally from Holland, and I started cooking at my uncle's restaurant, which is, I was peeling potatoes really, you know, and just doing prep work. I was about 15 at the time. Moved to the United States when I was 16 and got my first job at St. Francis College as a pot washer, and then became dishwasher, and then they let me run the little cafeteria, you know, hot dogs, burgers, and coleslaw, and what have you. And so I've really always ended up cooking, and I worked at various different places in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's kind of a similar story for a lot of chefs. You just keep going, and I didn't really want to become a professional chef for a long time because I didn't want to work weekends, because you always have to work weekends. And at some point in time, I was about 27, I decided, okay, this is enough. We're going to just try for real this time, and moved to from California to New Orleans. And actually, my plan was, because I used to make and sell jewelry, to go to fairs wine fairs up in California. And one time I was there, it was a Jackson Browne concert up in Northern California, and there's a guy next to me, a little food truck, if you will. And he was selling crepes. And all he had was, diced up fruit. He had 2 crepe makers, and he put fruit on there, whipped cream, $5. And he just goes all day long, going, I gotta do food. And so my plan was to go to New Orleans, learn how to cook New Orleans food, get my food truck, and, go there. And, I'm 70 now, so you can kind of do a little subtraction there of how long ago that was. And never made it, And so I met my wife there, which was my best day of my life. We met at Jazz Fest. Each had a different date. And the rest is history. So 40 years later, we're still together. I'm happy to say.
Yeah, and then, Hans and Gary met, back when they both were starting in the industry and all. They became roommates and all that. They were a good time. Crazy thing was, the 3 of us were actually all living out in San Diego at the same time. I was in high school. My dad was stationed out there. But when I moved back to New Orleans, our other partner, Gary Darling, he was running a culinary program, and he was my culinary instructor. And he put me with world-famous Warren LaRuth, which was just a phenomenal restaurant, the LaRuth's restaurant down in Warren. And he said, don't screw up. I've been trying to get an apprentice in here forever. So I went and worked for Mr. LaRuth. I worked for a couple other restaurants. Gary and I ended up working together at Copeland's for many, many years, where he was the executive chef. And anytime we traveled, we'd go see Hans. At that point, there you were in the hotel ends of the business. And we'd stay with Hans. He knew all the great restaurants around. There was just a great bond, a great friendship that was formed. And that's the name of the company. The parent company is Taste Buds for that name. There's 3 chefs, 3 great friends. And like I said, who would have guessed that 3 chefs would have been together after all these years? But it works. We all have our different areas that we kind of play in and complement each other.
Yeah, Greg talks a lot.
That-
Not so much. If you wind
Gary
me-
doesn't talk at all.
If you wind me up, I'll keep going.
We get a couple glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's true.
So I spent most of my career prior to us starting our business. I was working for Al Copeland. I was director of research and development. Gary and I worked side by side. Again, we'd always hang out with Hans when he was in town or when we'd go out of town. And at one point, we were hired to do a celebrity hunting and fishing trip in Hawaii. And it was towards the end of the event. It was sunset. We're drinking Mai Tais on the beach. And I think Hans said, man, we ought to do this for a living. And we kind of chuckled. Said, yeah, we really should. Got back to New Orleans, we figured we'd do some consulting, and that grew into developing our first concept, which was Semolina. After we sold that, we said, hey, let's do something else, and then came up with the idea for Zia and started working on that. It's our latest run.
When do you anticipate opening for lunch?
Lunch is going to be anywhere between 6 weeks, about 4 or 6 weeks, depending on how things go. It really depends on how well the staff is doing, and as they start to pick up their abilities and are able to work larger stations, then we have more opportunities than we can open for lunch. So the idea is we don't want to open up too soon. We'd rather serve fewer great meals than just a bunch of mediocre meals.
And it will be a similar lunch menu to your other restaurants, right?
Yep, similar. We'll always play with the menu. There's always something that's going. We usually give the restaurants about 4 or 5 months before we introduce anything new to it. We've got some just a great bank of recipes, seafood dishes. And
Great. How about service? How y'all brought them down there to train? You brought your staff down there, the management?
yeah, the management team. Barbara just she went through it all. How many total months of training did you go through?
Well, actually, we never get out of training. So you think you're done after 3 months, and they sent me to the busiest restaurant in the company where I was like, wow, I'm still in training. So one thing that I love about this company is we don't skimp on training. We spend a lot of time with our people investing in them to make sure that we can do a great job. We have all our managers go down to Louisiana and train. Ronnie is actually here from Mississippi. And it's not an easy training program. You think you know it, and I've been in the business a long time. And I've learned so much in such a short time.
And also, unlike maybe a lot of different restaurants, when a general manager or someone's hired to be a general manager, being promoted to be a general manager, the route to do it is through the kitchen. So Barbara spent a significant period of time, even though we knew we had her slated for a general manager, that she had to master the kitchen. It's such an important part of it. At the end of the day, that's why we all go out to eat. She would work hard in there and hang with the big dogs on some busiest chefs over there. Real trooper. But it's an important part of it. The millions of dollars that you invest in a project like this, and all the people that are dependent upon this being a success, you don't want to skimp on the training. We've seen that happen time and time again where people say, they'll figure it out, or they've been from another place. The other part of it is making sure that there's a good cultural fit with the company. we have purposely grown at a pretty slow rate, just because we want to make sure that we have successful restaurants with successful people. All right. Any other questions? Who's hungry? That's my question. Yes, sir.
Like me, I've already eaten. I was eating while you were talking.
What's the verdict?
Well, the ribs and the,
Grits, the roasted corn grits.
what's it called?
Grits, we call those grits. So y'all know y'all have grits here in your city. Well, ours are roasted corn. So it really is funny. It's the roasted corn. My mother used to call it fried corn growing up, and I think we've all had a version of that. It's a black cast iron skillet of butter, onion, salt, pepper, and corn, and you cook it till it kind of browns up and all that. And it's we've always used that as a component of the grits because it's nice as you're eating through, you get a little burst of sweetness through there.
And you cook, you make St. Louis style ribs.
Yeah, the ribs themselves. In fact, afterwards, when I go back in, if y'all want to learn how we cook our ribs, I'm happy to show you on the wood burning grill. We use a St. Louis style rib, and that's a spare rib that actually has that big, the chine bone that's trimmed off. So it's trimmed down to look like a baby back rib. But unlike a baby back rib, there's a significant more amount of fat that's in there. So if you think about a filet mignon versus a strip steak, a filet is nice and tender. It's a good piece of meat, great piece of meat. But it doesn't have a lot of flavor compared to the strip because of the marbling and the fat. So the St. Louis ribs, they don't cost us any less than the baby back. They just taste better. So we use those, so that extra fat and it gives a lot of flavor. And then our real point of difference with our ribs is, we don't do a traditional smoked rib like you think, the smoke rib. You see all the competition, all the different things on the Food Network channel. Ours they're dry marinated, they're slow cooked, and we finish them on the grill. Then we finish them with our Thai rib sauce. And you can see the ones behind me, we've got fresh herbs with cilantro, basil, and green onion on there, toasted sesame seeds. And they're really pretty special. And we can do some barbecue version of it if you want, but these are the ones I always recommend.
And in your media kit is that sauce, so you can watch him do the ribs and then you can go home.
And I think, do we provide a link that we have on YouTube of how to do them at home?
We do have.
Yeah, okay,
we
good.
have a link,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so a lot of people, they'll come to us, they say, look, sell me the ribs and the sauce, and we'll do all the heavy lifting over here, and they take them and finish on the grill. You'll be a rock star.
Oh, you will.
Is there anything special about the painting?
That is John Goodman. That's the only one I read. This came from a larger mural that we had at one of our restaurants. We loved it so much, especially when we're looking. We don't have a lot of opportunity to put art in the new design. There's a lot of windows and all that. And we always love that. It's painted by a good friend of ours, Frenchie, who's a very famous artist down in New Orleans. His studio is right across the street from our little home, our little office down there. And we just love the pictures and all that. And so that's now become a little piece of our bar.
How many zero rotisseries are there?
So what are we up to now?
This will be number 10.
10.
And the others are where?
Mainly in New Orleans. So we started out in a little town called Harahan, which is in the suburbs of New Orleans. It used to be a tottle house, so you can imagine the size of that little building. We have since added on to about 4 times. And then after that, we opened up in Metairie proper, kind of downtown Metairie Veterans. We've got a location in New Orleans, Covington, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, mainly in Louisiana.
Right. When were you established?
Back in
1997.
97, is that what it was? Seems so much longer.
And this is the second one with the new design.
Correct. Yeah, we opened up in right outside of Denham Springs, or outside of Baton Rouge, is a little town called Denham Springs, and a suburb of Baton Rouge, and that's where we did this first design. That one's a freestanding building, so we were excited to see how it works out and kind of connected with the end cap and all that. So we just love the openness and the airiness of it. At night, there's just such a great warm glow that kind of gets thrown out. We've made a big commitment to the bar area. Not that we're a bar or nightclub by any chance, but it's just nice to have, instead of just an afterthought, where it's just a little small bar, not enough room to mill around and meet your friends and maybe grab a nice little bite to eat.
Open kitchen.
Open kitchen, yeah, we'll show you all that in a second. We'll give you a quick little tour if you'd like, and show you where the rotisserie is and the kitchen. So if there's no more questions, we can head over that way. Great. All right, follow me. Don't watch your steps because there's still a little bit of construction going on. makeup air is working. I can feel the cool air coming in. So this is the rotisserie, the French rotisserie. It's made by a company called Rotisserie, and they make just beautiful rotisseries. And in our old design, all the rotisseries, with the exception of one, they were all in the back of the house, and people never got a chance to see it. And we said, we need to bring this out to the front. So we're very excited with the last 2 locations being able to bring it up front. So when we're rolling, you'll have chickens going. You can see with the drip tray, you're able to cook different types of meats. There'll be the prime rib will be on there, the pork, the veal, the lamb. And it's just a beautiful display. We found by having it out front, people see it. We're selling a ton of rotisserie, which I really love because it's our real point of difference when you think of it. I mean, any restaurant can have a grill. They can do the fryer, the saute. This is something that, I mean, it's a big investment. I think these run now about $22,000, then plus the hood and all that. And it takes a while to really get very proficient on it, but it's a wonderful piece of equipment.
What's the capacity of it?
So we can usually run about 5 to 6 chickens across the top. We've recently gone up in our chicken size. So I think now you can get 5 of them in there. But it usually takes about an hour and 35, 45 minutes to get them up to temperature. About every hour and a half to 2 hours, new chickens are going on.
So that's just for chicken?
No, we do the other meats on it as well. You're able to segment it off by these drip trays, and you have the cross containers. And the idea is you're putting the raw product just below the cooked product. It's a base thing. So it'll be right here, right out in the open. There's still a couple more pieces of glass that kind of act as a protector for it, but you get to see that happen there. Just to my right, to your left, and this is our open kitchen, and this is a variety of the stations. Typically the chef will work in this position here, kind of doing the orchestration, making sure the food's coming out. The wood-burning grill that I'm cooking on outside will be directly behind the rotisserie at a different station. Everything's cooked, a la minute. It's as we need it. We utilize a little electronic system that we've hidden all the monitors up top to kind of leave this nice and clean, as open as possible. And when we first did the open kitchen, it was a little scary because you're worried about all the kitchen noise. Because in the past, we've always had a wall there, and you can get as loud as you need to be. But the team has done a great job of keeping it down to a good kind of kitchen noise, and not to where it's getting too crazy and hectic back there. But it made us have to redesign how we kind of stock the area here. Because if you're behind a wall, you can have a stack of whatever. But for now, it's going to be kept real clean. My favorite table in the restaurant is the 2 that are right here. Sometimes we push them together, so as you're sitting here, you can just kind of watch the food coming right out of the kitchen. If you're into that kind of thing, it's we've got a variety of booths and tables, and you'll notice the tables all have common edges to them. So if you come in here, one of the things we're really proud of ourselves on, come in here with a big party, we can push them together, you get a pretty good sized group. We don't have a private dining room. That just wasn't an option for this location, but we do a lot of large parties.